Every week, you drop $2 or $3 on a small clamshell of fresh herbs that wilts before you use half of it. You buy asparagus for $4 a pound and it is gone in one meal. You reach for rhubarb at the farmer's market and pay $5 a pound because almost nobody grows it anymore. The nursery industry is fine with all of that. Here is what they do not want you to realize. A single, well-chosen perennial food plant planted once with the right variety repays your investment every season for life, not vague savings. Documented measurable dollar amounts, plant by plant, year by year. Today I am walking you through 10 plants, not the ones the nursery tag pushes, the ones Extension Services have tested for decades, that growers in zones 3 through 9 rely on, and that commercial agriculture has made quietly expensive. Planted together, this list can realistically eliminate over $1,200 in annual grocery spending. Let us start with the herb that costs the least to grow and the most to get wrong. Number 1. Greek oregano. Origanum vulgar subspecies hirtum. The mistake is buying whatever the nursery labels as oregano. Most garden center oregano is Origanum vulgar, common wild marjoram from northern Europe. It grows fast and has almost no flavor. The carvacrol and thymol content responsible for real oregano intensity are so low that NC State Extension researchers describe it as essentially ornamental compared to true Greek oregano. You bring it home, dry it, and wonder why your homegrown herb tastes like dried grass while the store version has punch. Picture this. Year 3. You planted a single Greek oregano from a rooted cutting. $4 at a specialty herb nursery. That plant is now a dense mat covering 2 square feet. You cut it back twice each summer, forcing fresh aromatic growth. Each cutting yields roughly 2 ounces of dried herb. 4 ounces a year. A 2-ounce jar of quality dried oregano retails for $4 to $6. You are producing $12 to $18 of shelf product annually from a $4 one-time investment. The plant tag will never tell you this. Subspecies matters enormously. Origanum vulgar subspecies hirtum has documented carvacrol levels of 60 to 80% of its essential oil. Common wild marjoram runs under 10%. You cannot grow subspecies hirtum reliably from most commercial seed packets. You need a rooted cutting or a verified plant. Ask specifically. Zones 5 through 10. The correct move, source of verified subspecies hirtum plant, not seed. Full sun, lean, sharply drained soil, no fertilizer. Rich soil produces lush, flavorless growth. Cut back by half twice yearly. Divide every 3 years. Bottom line, one plant, $4, $12 to $18 in dried herb every year for a decade or more. Up next, the herb every French chef considers essential, and that almost every home grower is buying in exactly the wrong form. Number 2, French tarragon, Artemisia dracunculus variety sativa. The mistake is ordering tarragon seed. True French tarragon, used in béarnaise and Venus herbs, does not produce viable seed. Every real plant comes from a cutting or division. If you bought a seed packet labeled tarragon, you got Russian tarragon, Artemisia dracunculus variety inodora. University of Wisconsin Horticulture Extension documents this. Russian tarragon has almost no culinary flavor. It grows bigger and coarser and smells faintly of licorice, but it will not flavor your vinegar and will not make a real béarnaise. Gardeners plant it, wonder why it tastes like nothing, and blame themselves. Picture this. Year 2. A single French tarragon division in a sunny, well-drained spot. It died back in winter, which alarmed you. Then it came back in spring, denser than before, exactly as Iowa State University Extension says it should. You harvest 3 to 4 ounces of fresh herb per cut, 2 cuts per season. Fresh tarragon retails for $2.49 for a half ounce at most grocery stores. 6 to 8 ounces annually from one plant. That is $30 to $40 in fresh herb value from a $6 investment. The plant tag will never tell you this. The variety name is everything. French tarragon, variety sativa. If the tag does not say sativa, assume it is Russian tarragon and walk away. Zones 4 through 8. It needs cold winter dormancy, which is why it fails in zones 9 and 10. The correct move? Buy a rooted division or cutting labeled explicitly as Artemisia dracunculus variety sativa. Full sun, excellent drainage. Divide every 3 to 4 years as the center dies out. Bottom line, $6. $30 to $40 in fresh herb value annually from a plant that returns every spring without effort. Next up, the easiest perennial food plant in existence and the one most growers are dramatically under harvesting. Number 3, chives, Allium schoenoprasum. The mistake is treating chives like an annual. Most people grow them in a pot on the windowsill, harvest a few snips, let them get root bound, watch them turn yellow, and toss the pot. Chives are a fully hardy perennial rated to Zone 3 by University of Wisconsin Horticulture Extension. One well-managed clump in the ground will outlive your kitchen garden. The nursery does not mention this because a pot of chives every spring is a reliable $4 repeat sale. Picture this. Year 2, you planted 5 small chive divisions 18 inches apart, free from a neighbor's overgrown clump. Each clump is now softball-sized. Iowa State University Extension documents that cutting chives back to 1 inch above the soil stimulates new growth rather than weakening the plant. You cut each clump 3 times per season. Each gives roughly 1 ounce of fresh chives per cut. 5 clumps, 3 cuts each. 15 ounces per season. A small clamshell of fresh chives at the grocery store runs $2.49 for under an ounce. You are producing over $40 in fresh herb value annually from plants that cost you nothing and spread further every year. The plant tag will never tell you this. Chive flowers are edible and sell at specialty stores for $4 to $6 a bunch. If you let even a few clumps flower before cutting, you have an additional harvestable product that commercial markets charge a premium for, but never explain to home growers. The correct move, plant divisions or seeds in any reasonably fertile soil. Full sun to part shade. Cut back hard 3 times per season. Divide every 3 years. Bottom line, free to start, $40 or more in fresh herb value annually, and it comes back harder every year. Before we get to the vegetables, a quick note. If you are finding this useful, the subscribe button is right below this video. This channel exists to give you research-backed, source-cited information that the nursery industry has no incentive to share with you. Every subscriber makes it easier to keep producing content like this. If you know someone who grows their own food or is seriously thinking about starting a kitchen garden, share this video with them. It will save them real money and years of costly trial and error. Now, onto the vegetable that will outlast every other plant in your garden by a margin of decades. Number 4, Jersey night asparagus, Asparagus officinalis, Jersey night. The mistake is planting Mary Washington. It has been the standard asparagus variety for decades and is still what most garden centers stock. Penn State Extension trial data documents the problem. Mary Washington produces both male and female plants, and female plants spend energy producing berries instead of spears. All male hybrids from Rutgers University produce 2 to 3 times more harvestable spears per bed. Jersey night is the most widely documented all-male hybrid, rated zones 3 through 8, and what serious asparagus growers have planted for 30 years. Picture this. Year 4. You planted 25 crowns 3 years ago and waited. You harvested nothing the first 2 years, following the protocol Cornell University Extension recommends. In year 3, you took a light harvest. Now in year 4, your bed produces 8 to 12 pounds of spears in a 6-week spring window. Asparagus retails for $3 to $4 per pound. You are harvesting $30 to $40 in fresh asparagus each spring from a bed that will perform at this level for 25 years with almost no maintenance at all. The plant tag will never tell you this. Variety selection determines your entire 25-year yield. Mary Washington's mixed sex ratio quietly cuts your harvest in half compared to all male Jersey night, and no nursery tag will ever explain that to you. The correct move: order Jersey night crowns from a reputable supplier. Plant 1-year-old crowns in a trench 12 inches deep, amended with compost. Do not harvest for 2 full seasons. The patience is the investment. Bottom line, $12 to $15 in crowns, $30 to $40 in fresh asparagus every spring for 25 years or more. Coming up, the onion that walks itself around your garden and asks absolutely nothing from you in return. Number 5, Egyptian walking onion, Allium X proliferum. The mistake is buying onion sets every single spring. You plant them, they grow, you harvest, and you go back to the store the following year. Egyptian walking onions break that cycle. Instead of seeds, they produce clusters of small topset bulbils at the tips of their stems in late summer. Those bulbils are heavy enough to bend the stem to the ground where they root and start new plants. This is how the plant walks across your garden. University of Wisconsin Horticulture Extension documents Egyptian walking onions as hardy to zone 3, surviving temperatures as low as negative 24 degrees Fahrenheit without any protection at all. Picture this. Year 3. You planted a dozen top sets. Each plant has walked and rooted. You now have 30 to 40 plants in a loose colony. You harvest the green tops all spring and early summer, like scallions. You harvest the small underground bulbs in fall, which taste sharper than standard storage onions. Every late summer, new top sets fall and root themselves with no action from you. Your onion supply is self-sustaining. The plant tag will never tell you this. Most garden centers have never heard of Egyptian walking onions, let alone stocked them. The commercial onion industry has no incentive to promote a vegetable that removes itself from the annual purchase cycle completely. The correct move: order top sets from a specialty seed supplier or divide an established colony from a fellow gardener. Plant in full sun in well-drained soil. Harvest greens freely all season and underground bulbs in fall. The colony expands every year without replanting. Bottom line, $10 to $15 to start a self-sustaining onion supply from year 2 forward that you will never need to buy again. Next, the root that supermarkets mark up enormously and that you can grow in a container for under $5. Number 6, horseradish, Armoracia rusticana. The mistake is buying prepared horseradish in a jar. A 4-ounce jar retails for $3 to $4 and goes soft within weeks of opening. Fresh grated horseradish is sharper, cleaner, and incomparable to the jarred version. Purdue University Extension documents horseradish as a trouble-free perennial in zones 2 through 9. Iowa State University Extension calls it one of the most carefree vegetables a home gardener can grow. The University of Illinois Extension recommends growing it in a contained bed or large container because it is aggressive enough to take over adjacent planting areas. Picture this. Year 2. You planted 3 root cuttings in a 15-gallon container. The roots you paid $4 for are now a dense underground mass. In late October, you dig the container, harvest the largest roots, wash them, and grate them fresh. Each root yields 4 to 8 ounces, 3 plants, 12 to 24 ounces of fresh horseradish with heat levels you cannot buy in any store. You replant the pencil-thick side roots, and next year the cycle repeats itself. The plant tag will never tell you this. The Illinois River Valley produces the majority of commercial horseradish consumed in the United States, a fact the University of Illinois Extension has documented for decades. Commercial producers have no interest in home gardeners discovering how trivially easy this plant is to grow. The correct move: source root cuttings, not crowns. Plant in a large container to control spread. Full sun, consistent moisture. Harvest after fall frost when pungency peaks. Replant pencil-thick side roots to maintain the cycle indefinitely. Bottom line: $4, 20 or more ounces of fresh horseradish annually with zero recurring cost. Next, the lemon-scented perennial Jefferson grew at Monticello in 1794, and that most gardeners have completely overlooked. Number 7. Lemon balm, Aurea Melissa officinalis, Aurea. The mistake is dismissing lemon balm as a novelty. Most gardeners who have it let it go to seed and turn it into a weed problem. Grown correctly, lemon balm is one of the highest yielding culinary herbs per square foot in the garden. The variety Aurea is documented by Utah State University Extension and features gold variegated foliage with the same strong lemon scent as the species. Victory Seed Company notes that Jefferson grew Melissa officinalis at Monticello beginning in 1794. The Herb Society of America documents extensive culinary applications including teas, salads, desserts, vinegars, and fish dishes. Picture this. Year 2. One Aurea plant has spread into a clump 2 feet across. You cut it back to 4 inches 3 times per growing season. Each cutting yields 4 to 6 ounces of fresh herb, 12 to 18 ounces per season. Specialty grocery stores sell fresh lemon balm when they carry it at all for $3 to $4 per small bunch. Most grocery stores never stock it. Your 12 to 18 ounces represents $30 to $50 in specialty market value. You could not easily purchase regardless. The plant tag will never tell you this. Lemon balm spreads aggressively if allowed to set seed, which is why most gardeners end up with a sprawling mess instead of a productive herb. Cut it back before it flowers and it stays tidy, dense, and productive for years. The correct move: plant Aurea or straight species in full sun to part shade, zones 4 through 9. Cut back before flowering 3 times per season. Divide every 2 years. Never let it set seed. Bottom line: $5, $30 to $50 in specialty herb value annually from a plant almost no grocery store stocks. Next, the tart stalks that cost $4 to $6 a pound at the farmer's market and take 2 years of patience to reward you. Number 8. Canada Red Rhubarb, Rheum X Hybridum, Canada Red. The mistake is skipping rhubarb because it takes too long. It takes 2 years before you can harvest. Cornell University Small Farms program documents the no harvest protocol clearly. Do not pick a single stalk in year 1. Take only a light harvest in year 2. By year 3, the crown is fully established and produces 10 to 15 pounds of stalks per season for the next 15 to 20 years. Iowa State University Extension specifically names Canada Red and Crimson Red as top performing red stalked varieties for home gardens. Picture this. Year 3 with Canada Red. The crown has 3 to 4 vigorous growing points. You harvest 10 pounds of deep red stalks over a 6-week spring window, cutting outer stalks to the ground and leaving center stalks to feed the crown. Rhubarb at farmers markets runs $4 to $6 per pound. 10 pounds is $40 to $60 in value from a plant that costs $6 and needs only a fall compost top dressing for the next 2 decades. That is a return no savings account can match. The plant tag will never tell you this. Most garden centers stock unnamed rhubarb crowns with no cultivar information. Those unnamed crowns may be green stalk types with lower sweetness and yield than named red varieties. Canada Red is documented for deep color retention and higher sugar content compared to generic unlabeled stock. The correct move, source A named Canada Red or Crimson Red. Crown, not an unlabeled generic. Plant in full sun in deeply amended soil. Top dress with compost each fall. Do not harvest for 2 full years. Zones 3 through 8. Bottom line, $6, $40 to $60 in rhubarb value annually for 15 to 20 years. Up next, the Mediterranean shrub that survives -10 degrees Fahrenheit and costs nothing to multiply once you have one established. Number 9. ARP rosemary, Salvia rosmarinus ARP. The mistake is buying whatever rosemary is at the front of the nursery. Most standard rosemary is cold hardy only to around 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit. Growers in zones 6 and colder lose it every hard winter and buy another plant the following spring. ARP was selected by Madeline Hill in ARP, Texas, after surviving a severe freeze that killed every other rosemary in her garden. Extension documentation places its cold hardiness at -10 degrees Fahrenheit, making it viable in Zone 5 and reportedly surviving Zone 4 winters with protection. Picture this: year 4 with an established ARP. The plant is 4 feet wide and 3 feet tall. You harvest 4 to 6 ounces of fresh rosemary per cutting 3 times per year. A small clamshell of fresh rosemary at the grocery runs $2 to $3 for less than half an ounce. 12 to 18 ounces annually, that is $60 to $90 in fresh herb value from a plant that has not needed replacing in 4 years and will not for a decade if sited correctly. The plant tag will never tell you this. Rosemary cultivar selection is a survival question in zones 5 and 6, not just a flavor question. Nurseries stock what sells visually, and ARP is not showier in a pot than unnamed cultivars. There is no profit incentive to explain that the wrong cultivar will be dead by February. The correct move: purchase ARP, specifically by name, full sun, lean, sharply drained soil. Never amend with rich compost. Do not overwater. In Zone 5, a south-facing wall provides warmth that can be the difference between survival and loss. Bottom line, $6 to $8, $60 to $90 in fresh herb value annually, and it will not die on you every winter. Finally, the fragrant perennial that doubles as a culinary and wellness crop and that almost no grocery store has the sense to stock. Number 10, Hidcote lavender, Lavandula angustifolia, Hidcote. The mistake is planting lavender in amended fertilized soil. This is the most consistent way to kill it. Rich soil encourages lush, disease-prone growth and crown rot. Lavandula angustifolia is documented by ATRA as the species producing the highest quality essential oil and the strongest culinary lavender. Hidcote holds the Royal Horticultural Society Award of Garden Merit, given to varieties with tested documented garden performance, and it is consistently named in extension literature as one of the most reliable compact varieties for home gardens in zones 5 through 9. Picture this: year 3 with 3 established Hidcote plants in full sun and lean, gravelly soil. Each plant blooms from June through August. You harvest the flower stems just as the first blooms open when volatile oil content peaks. Each plant yields 2 to 4 ounces of dried flower. 3 plants, 6 to 12 ounces of dried culinary lavender per season. Dried culinary lavender retails for $8 to $12 per ounce at specialty stores. You are producing $60 to $140 in specialty ingredient value annually from 3 plants that cost $8 total. The plant tag will never tell you this. Lavender must be propagated vegetatively to preserve variety characteristics. Hidcoat grown from seed will not reliably reproduce the compact habit and intense color that make it valuable. Always source named rooted cuttings, not seed. The correct move: Hidcoat in full sun, lean alkaline or neutral soil, perfect drainage. No fertilizer, no mulch against the crown. Zones 5 through 9. Cut back by 1/3 immediately after bloom, never into old wood. Bottom line, $8 for 3 plants, $60 to $140 in specialty culinary value annually from a planting that only asks for sun and poor soil. That is 10 plants, all documented perennials, all returning every season without replacement, all producing measurable dollar value from a single purchase. Jersey Night asparagus, $30 to $40 every spring for 25 years. Canada red rhubarb, $40 to $60 annually for 2 decades. ARP rosemary, $60 to $90. Hidcoat lavender, $60 to $140 in specialty culinary value from $8 of investment. Subscribe so you do not miss what is coming next. Like this video. Hit the bell. Share it with one gardener still spending money every spring on things designed to die. Tell me in the comments where you are watching from and which plant you are starting with. Watch the next video on screen now. Stop buying what dies. Start growing what lasts.